All right, everyone. I hope that's better. I don't know what's going on with my computer, but like I said, I was going to show you the Sustainable Development Goals board game. And since I'm doing this now on my phone instead of the computer, it's going to be a much smaller screen, so I'm going to try and turn things around for you. Okay, we're going to be looking at the sustainable, whoops, hang on. We'll get this together, guys. All right, the Go Goals. And this is gearing for 8 to 10-year-old children. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go over this is because this is being shown as a free resource for educators. And of course, we know there are a lot of people who need free education resources. But what better way to push the UN Sustainable Development Goal information than by a free resource? Now, you're not going to get a whole lot of the gist of what's going on unless you understand why they're targeting these 8 to 10-year-old children. Here's what's from the educator package. Our aim is to help people understand their role in the future of the planet as individuals, team players, and most importantly, global citizens. Agenda right there, folks. All right, so in order to better build the world for everyone in the planet, the member states of the United Nations have agreed to do their utmost to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Now, we need younger generations to be key players for a brighter future. And for this purpose, we have created the Go Goals game for children 8 to 10. This is designed to be fun and engaging. This game informs children while motivating them to actively pursue sustainable development goals. Your role as an educator is crucial because with help from people like you, your family, your friends, and your community, we all can achieve these goals. Remember, even small steps can help to make a big difference if millions around the world are involved. So we hope you enjoy this game. You're invited to download it and follow the instructions and the rules below. Now, part of one of the things about downloading it is that it is asking you to supply your email and your contact information under the guise of we want to see how you're using the game. You know, write us questions for more question cards or show us how you're using the game in your education setting. But we know that it is not so much that as it is to track and see who's using the game. Now, you can bypass downloading your or registering your information, I do believe, but you just need to be very careful. So what I wanted to do was go ahead and share this with you, and I do apologize that it wasn't coming up on the main computer, that I'm having to do this on my phone. I'm really not sure what happened. Okay, now let's see here. Registering, yes. Oh, and you'll also get e-news on this game too if you use the downloading your contact information. All right, for those of you who don't know what the 17 development goals are, they range from things to do with humans to land to health and food and of course education. They're all color-coded. I have given you a resource for that on my page. Let me see. Hang on just a second, guys. Let me type in that I'm having to do this. Well, I think you guys know this is on the phone. I'm sorry. Anyway, let me show you what the game actually looks like. It's simply a board that you print out. And if you'll notice, there are chutes and ladders and waterfalls. And of course, this is supposed to be all nice and colorful. And the reason is that color shows it's to help gear your mind into accepting these particular goals. Okay, it comes with everything you need that you print out and make. There's the dice, and then you have these little players, and of course I made one and I gave him not so much a happy face. Okay, the main thing I wanted to go over with you are the questions. There are 135 of them in all, and they're broken down by the goals. And I'm not going to read every single one of them, but you need to understand that the way these are geared, and I'll show you one, this is for the no poverty, is you'll see they have a question with the right answer that's going to be more bold than the rest of them. And it's gearing you towards what they want you to think is the correct answer. And one of the ones that stuck out to me was like for clean energy. And it was talking about which one is the worst one. And of course the answer was coal. The ones that were more acceptable were the wind and the sun and those sorts of things, which I understand we need good energy, but I also understand that coal is really a good way that we can have energy without harming our environments as much as, say, those wind turbines. Okay. Let's see here. The questions are, like I said, they are geared to give you pointed information in the way that they want you to think, not so much the way that you need to think or that you agree with. And by using these sustainable development goals in some of the background information, it's saying by sharing this kind of information that you're in some way supporting these goals. Folks, my goal is not to support the goals, it's to expose them so that you see what is going on, so that you can absolutely inform others of the indoctrination that is coming along. I'm going to skip over to the quality education game pieces that come with this. And the way the board game works is that you roll the dice, of course, and you move around the board, and once you get to, say, one of the developmental goals, that's where you stop and answer questions. And if you get the questions right, you get to move on, and if you don't, then you have to just stay there. All right, here are the questions for the education. Most of the children who do not go to school live on which continent? A, Europe, B, Asia, C, America, or D, Africa? And of course, Africa is the correct question. What percentage of adults today are literate, meaning they can read and write? 80%, 60%, or 30%? And of course, it's 80%. Quality education is good for A, improving your health, B, reducing poverty, or C, both. And of course, it's both. All right, education. A, will make it hard for you to get a job. B, will help you get a job and improve your life. Or C, is only useful for the very smart. And of course, it's B, will help you get a job and improve your life. All right, true or false? Fewer girls than boys attend school worldwide. And of course, it's true, according to the UN goals. All right, only one country in the world has more women than men in that's gender equality. Okay, so those were all the education questions. Then it goes into gender equality, no poverty. It goes into good health. It goes into clean energy. And every one of these we can trace back to education. There's a huge section on climate action. And a lot of the questions that are pointed in that one are geared more towards needing more technology and more science, and not so much history or math or arts or English or some of the things that we would need in order to have that quality education for all. So this is what we're seeing come at our kids. Again, this is all about infrastructure, changing our communities, aligning our communities, and of course they're using education as the change agent. Now, since my Facebook feed has not been coming out very well, and it didn't work as much as I thought it would on my computer, and I'm doing this on the phone, I'm going to try very hard to make a fresh video for everyone and put it on my blog. Put it on my blog so that all this information can get out. I know that it's a war trying to get this information out there, and sometimes, the technology doesn't want us to share this sort of stuff, but I do encourage every one of you to let's look at this particular kind of indoctrination and let's, fight it as much as we can. All right. I want to go over some more of the questions, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I am seeing some comments, and I am addressing this as best I can. Of course, when I do this all by myself, and so sometimes I'm not as technology blessed as I need to be, but anyway, it's more important we get this stuff out. This game is actually suitable for up to 6 children. And let's see here. How can you tell that someone is living in poverty? The person doesn't have a smartphone. The person is not able to fulfill their basic needs, including food, healthcare, education, among others, or the person is not well dressed. And of course it would be they're not able to fill their basic needs, including education. And there's the card right there. All right, let's see here. Let me see another one that would be really good for us to see how the UN is trying to steer us. All right, for zero hunger. Is enough food produced in the world to feed everyone? A, no, because I get hungry all the time. B, enough healthy food is produced, but not enough sweets and fizzy drinks. Or C, there's enough food, but not everyone can afford to buy food. And of course, it's C, there is enough food, but not everyone can afford to buy it. All right, let's see, let's go on. Here's one. Which of these statements is true? You need at least one sweetened fizzy drink per day to stay healthy. There's enough food to feed the world. Or C, you can stay healthy if you don't eat vegetables and fruits. And of course, it's B, there is enough food to feed the world. All right. Absolutely. I have someone who has just said that socialists and Marxists have overtaken our education system, and Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals is alive and well. And absolutely, yes, it is. And just yesterday, I got an email from Tom DeWeese, who's done an awfully wonderful job of exposing these sustainable development goals, more from the property use and land use. And then Patrick Wood has also done a great job on exposing these as it has to do with innovation in infrastructure. But the point of it is both of them, as well as I, are trying to point out to you, think about what this is going to do, not only to our children, but to our world. How are we going to feel about it when, we're told how much water we can use, or where we can live, or how big our house is, or what kind of things that we can learn and do, and where we can go. And this is, again, this game is targeting 8 to 10-year-olds. These goals and their colors that go with them have many, many psychological meanings. And I've put up those resources for you. Look in the comments section. Like I said, I'm going to try my best to get a more polished version of this presentation out for you, since technology has kind of messed with me. But the point of it is the colors mean things that we need to know and we need to be exposing. We do not support these goals. We don't want our children being indoctrinated with them, but this is the kind of stuff that is being put out there. Now, I wanted to share a couple of things, and let me show you the game board again, and this is what it looks like. And of course, the goal is to get right in there and be that winner on the 2030. Now, these colors that are with the Sustainable Development Goals are in place from, let's see, here it is. They are in place from January the 1st, 2016, all the way to December 31st of 2030. And when you use the particular color wheel of the Sustainable Development Goals, you must in some way translate that you are supporting the goals. And again, no, we don't support them. Okay? In September of 2017, on my blog, I gave you an article where I showed how the United Nations is using the Smurfs to promote the Sustainable Development Goals. And of course, the Smurfs cartoons are geared for kids younger than 8. On the 21st of September, I did a Facebook video showing you the color psychology. So I've linked that resource for you as well. These particular goals and their colors are to raise graphic awareness in all communication and showing that we support the goals. And of course, like I said, they're designed to last 15 years. There are 63 spaces on this particular board. You use it in rolling the dice, of course, so that you can move about. It's again geared for 8 to 10-year-olds to understand the Sustainable Development Goals, and so they can be responsible global citizens. And of course, the United States is a member of the United Nations, and no amount of cutting a fund here or a fund there is going to stop this kind of indoctrination from happening. Now, I do have a question just to clarify. Are the teachers printing these out for use in the classroom? That's an excellent question. And, you know, since I have not tracked this or become part of the community, I'm going to hazard a guess and say yes. But let's understand, it's not just going to be teachers in public education. This is going to be teachers in private education, home education, because after all, this is a free resource. And what better way to help indoctrinate everyone? Because let's remember, this is not just indoctrinating our kids. This is indoctrinating every citizen out there, because we all have to be good global citizens. And I've already shown you several articles where the UN is already infiltrating the homeschooling community with the model UN clubs. We see it in higher education with the mock UN assemblies. We see social justice, and this is also woven in through all these sustainable development goals. And so we need to understand, back in the early 2000s, and Karen Bracken was wonderful by sharing this particular Sustainable Development Goal Toolkit, and I wanted to give her a shout out because she has been so wonderful in helping expose a lot of this kind of thing. It was shown in this toolkit that the education was going to be geared to help drive social justice, to change our communities on how we think, how we feel, and how we live together. Okay, this game is fairly new. It has been developed by not only the United Nations, but another company, and of course you can get into that when you look at the teacher pages. Most of the 15-page printout is the questions themselves, and again, there are 135 of them. There's very little instruction for the teachers, so I know that this is geared towards those teachers or those people who either A, are already using the Sustainable Development Goal curriculum, which is already out there, or they want to get interested in it, or they may just want to, you know, let's think about this from a homeschooling context. Maybe you're trying to study world geography and you found this as a free resource and you thought, hey, this would be a great way to teach our kids about, you know, being in the world. And from that context, there's not a big problem, but again, it's the underlying agenda. We're training your thought for one goal, and that is to be that global citizen, because you're not going to be an American or Italian or Mexican. You're going to be a global citizen of the member nation state of whatever. And the United Nations back in 2015 signed on an agreement, and in one of the resources I have for one of my articles, I give you the link that shows you the exact agreement number that we entered in 2015 to help support and do everything that we could as Americans to bring in the Sustainable Development Goals. All right, we have someone here who said, God bless America, it's time to stand up and fight this cancer which has invaded every area of our society. Absolutely. We have another one. Teachers are no longer teaching, they're simply facilitating an agenda. All right, that's exactly right. And this agenda was ramped up in America through an agreement, as we all know, that was signed by Bill Gates in 2014 with the United Nations to help bring all this kind of one world curriculum together. And if you go back and you look at the 17 different goals, you will see through his foundation how many are woven in through these goals, like the no poverty or the clean water, or, you know, that sort of thing. But where we're seeing this really hit our education is through what's known as STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and math. Now, it's also been known as science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. And they have taken and woven these Sustainable Development Goals through STEM, because back in 2010, when President Obama was taking office, there was an advisory council called the PCAST, and it's the President's Council for Arts, Science, and Technology. And they had been influenced greatly by the UN. This particular council had been influenced very much so by the United Nations, as well as working with the National Science Foundation here in America. And the purpose for this particular document was to show how STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, needed to be rolled in about the time of Common Core, under the guise of Common Core, because, and I kid you not, here's a passage from that particular report. America needed to be a STEM nation with a STEM people for a STEM economy filled with STEM jobs for a global greater presence. I kid you not. Now, our current administration has done nothing to stop this, to eradicate it. And, you know, signing an agreement saying, yes, we're going to do everything we can to support the sustainable development goals further sells our country down the nation. So again, we won't be Americans by the time everything for these sustainable development goals is put into place. We will be United Nations member state citizens or global citizens. Yes, you're going to see it in magnet schools. You're going to see globalism being taken over. Of course, we know it's rooted in communism, socialism, Marxism, almost all the isms except patriotism. Magnet schools are going to be in it. This particular grasp at education, be it Common Core, career tech education, college career readiness, whatever they've rebranded it, all ties back every single time to these sustainable development goals. And the whole point of it is to get us to think there's one way to learn so that we can earn, so that we can go work for someone else to be a good citizen. Now, we're seeing this play out in China already. Good citizens are having more privilege than, say, bad citizens. And what is determining the line between good citizenship and bad citizenship? It's social presence. Are you being a good enough social citizen? So again, look at your social justice components that you're seeing in education. But my point is, you'll see it in public school, private school, parochial school, home school. You'll see it in charters, magnets, IB schools especially, because IB schools are International Baccalaureate, and they use nothing but UNESCO UN curriculum. And I've had conversations with students who are in IB schools, and warriors, the education they're getting is grooming them from the time they are kindergarten all the way through high school to be nothing but collective minded. There is no individualism anymore. It's all about how can I do for the greater good? What's the commonality? Because if we remember, and researchers have shown this to us before, the whole gist of this is to be a common people with a common goal and have all these things that unite us. It totally disregards our beliefs that we all are different. It totally disregards our need to worship how we see fit if we choose to worship. It totally divorces us from our constitutionally protected right of pursuit of happiness. It violates our civil rights of freedom and right to privacy. It also impedes on our freedom of choice. What if I don't want my kid learning this kind of stuff? I've got a choice right now, but those choices are going to be short-lived. And as we've seen with Every Student Succeeds Act, it's whittling away at our school choice. It's not improving it. It's not improving it at all. Okay, let's see. We have one here. America's been asleep at the wheel, and now we must fight for our very survival. It's not too late. We must organize and outwit this evil. Absolutely, we must. And there have been a lot of us who have been out here for years, and some people much, much longer than I have, who've been trying to raise awareness. But we need folks even younger. I'm in my mid-50s, and let's look at the colleges. They're targeting kids who are just out of high school or in their young 20s. We've got this kind of board game that's targeting 8 to 10-year-olds. We've got stuff in preschool. We now see the push for birth to third grade because, after all, those first 5 years of a child's life are the most important as far as bonding. And we're seeing our families disrupted through this kind of infiltration as well. So I encourage you, if you feel brave enough to go to the Go Goals, and let me show you that one more time. I encourage you to go to this particular website. Hang on, let me turn it around and let you see. Sorry about that, guys. All right, there's the website right there, and you can go there. And I urge you to, if you want to download the game for yourself so that you can share this kind of information with your citizen groups, your taxpayer groups, your parents, your grandparents, your taxpayers, whomever. Share this with them. If you don't feel brave enough, and that's okay if you don't, and you want to see what the questions are, let me know. I can help you out with that, because I happen to get this particular game printed off for me by my husband. He actually did it at his work, and that's one of the reasons why it's not in color, because it's supposed to be in color. I will put the link up on the Common Core Diva page, Valerie, so just hang on. Let me see. Here's another one here. Whoops. Charter schools. Yep, charter schools are popping up everywhere. That's right, because we're losing our local and parental voices, and that is part of the technocratic trend that we're seeing that's tied in with the Sustainable Development Goals, and that is to eradicate all parent involvement and get rid of our school boards, because you can't have globalism if you have individual input. Okay, so I will put that link up for you. Not a problem, but like I said, if you're feeling kind of shy, or maybe you can't print this off, or maybe you don't want the UN to track you, which I totally understand, let me know. I will help you out with these 135 questions. But the main point that I wanted to show you was, first of all, get the news out there. Second of all, know that this kind of gunk is coming for our kids, and we're going to see more of it, not less of it. It's been ramping up. It's going to continue to ramp up. And like I said, I will do my best to get this in a more polished presentation for you. I thank you for bearing with me. I'm sorry that technology on the laptop didn't work out so well, but thank goodness I got my cell phone. Okay, if you have any other questions, you can go ahead and ask those now. I'll do my best to answer those. Does anyone have any other question? Yes, Pearson punishing. Yep, local schools are worse. Yep. Oh, you shared. Thank you so much. And you know, information's power, so whether it worked really well or whether we've, had to scramble and go another way, this information will get out there and it will help someone. And, we need to help as many folks as we can to understand that the United Nations doesn't give a fig about you or I, except how can we become part of their agenda instead of how can I live my life the way it was given to me. Let's see. Yes, this should be archived, and we will absolutely do our best to help get this out again. Again, the name is called Go Goals. And let me read you one more time before I close, because I don't see any questions. All right. Remember, from the teacher aspect of this particular game, okay, and you see I've got them marked. The aim here is to teach 8 to 10-year-old children how to be better team players and responsible global citizens. It's also to help reiterate that the United States is a member state of the United Nations, and they signed an agreement saying they would do everything they could to get the Sustainable Development Goals up and running all throughout America. You also need to know why they're targeting the 8 to 10-year-olds, because we need younger generations to be key players for a brighter future. So we've designed this game to be fun and engaging while informing them and motivating them to actively pursue the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay. They also want you to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals, if that's not insulting enough, because here's how they've written it in the teacher guide. Change begins with us. We need to make sure we're well informed about the causes and possible solutions to the world's issues. It's only then we can make small positive actions in our everyday lives. From talking constructively with our family and friends and communities to organizing ourselves and urging our government to listen to the voices of their citizens. Oh, and that reminds me, in one of the questions, it pointedly asks you what a democracy is. Now, that again flies in the face of America, because we are not a democracy. We are a republic. And here we have one more misleading, misguiding piece of information about our nation. Warriors, it's coming at us hard and fast, but we've been given the strength, we've been given the tools, we've been given the armor, we've been given the information, and it's up to us to help get this out there. All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. More later.